Dear people, please watch this video. We are living in very challenging times, and this video is a video about hope and what everybody can do to make our living environments more sustainable and safe. And we had a very inspiring conversation in the run-up to the Global Recycling Day, which will be celebrated on the 18th of March next. And I hope that everybody in the world will watch this video, get inspired by it, and also will share it with your communities. And please give it a thumbs up. We want to make this world a better place, also for the next generations to come. And therefore, it is very important to be focused on what really matters to people. Safe environments, sustainable environments, and what you can do as a person yourself and as companies to make this happen. I wish you all the best. Well, so Ranjit is the initiator and the past president of the Bureau de Internationale de Recycling, and he is also the founding father of the Global Recycling Foundation. Marc Hartog is a board member of one of the biggest companies in Europe concerning waste and recycling, RENEWI. And also a board member of our recycling branch of the Dutch Waste Management Association. And Wim Horeman is a board member of GP Groot. It is also a large collection, sorting and recycling company in the Netherlands. And he is the president of the Dutch collection branch in the Netherlands. And I'm the European Secretary of the Dutch Waste Management Association.
You are the boss of everybody, Unico.
I'm just
You're the boss of.
Yes, he's the ruler.
You drive the industry forward, my friend. You're doing a good job.
So Ranjit, can you enlighten me a bit about why there is the Global Recycling Day actually?
Yeah, fantastic, Marc. What happened is, in 2015, when I became BIR president, I've been in industry over 35 years. I've realized, or I felt, that this industry is not connected globally. The work we are doing for hundreds of years before us and hundreds of years we'll continue doing, we're making such a huge contribution for resource efficiency, reducing pollution, but it seems the work is not really recognized. We don't understand what we are really doing across the world. So I thought if we connect with the developing economies and the emerged economies, then everybody can learn from each other and the civil society can understand. So I thought Global Recycling Day was a day to connect all the people, the communities, the societies, the business people, so we can share the story of recycling.
Okay, very nice initiative. With very different countries and regions to deal with, but that's nice.
Yeah, I mean, we are at the moment, the day is celebrated in over 60 countries across the world. And every year I'm surprised by a new country, new initiatives. Because, Wim, what you are doing in your industry is a phenomenal work. But, your knowledge, your expertise, your contribution, I don't want to be left in Europe alone. I want your work, your knowledge to be spread out to parts of Africa, Asia, South America. The whole world wants to learn from you. So that's why I thought it's important to connect the people.
Like Ranjit, but also the opposite, because we want to learn from the other countries also. I see a lot of initiatives, but also eagerness in those countries, and we can learn in the West from those countries, especially in Holland. So it's a nice and very good initiative.
Thank you so much.
So Ranjit, if you look at the kind of initiatives that you've seen around the world happening on Recycling Day, what are the kind of examples you get energized from?
The very simple things that really give me a tick or get my heart to beat even better is when I see small schools across Africa. I mean, Unico has visited some on behalf of Global Recycling Day, where they are collecting plastic, they are trying to collect waste around them. And then there are groups in those communities which are saying, if you bring so much plastic to us, we will in turn give you a computer back or give you some books back. So I thought it's such a fantastic thing. Not only are we gaining environmentally, we are also promoting education. And for me, environment and educational and awareness are all connected together. So this really is a big change I see in the society, in the system. People now are thinking twice before they dispose anything. They're trying to think value in the waste. So really, if I can change you and me and Marc and Unico and everybody else, if we can change the youth of today who are going to be leaders of tomorrow, I think then only will the effort of Wim and you and everybody else will result in much better yield, because tomorrow they are the leaders. So if we can change them today, I think it's a great service. So that's my real tick.
Yeah, and that's already something very different from, let's say, 20 years ago, right? If you would be talking about a waste recycling business, I think if I look at a country like the Netherlands, recycling business and actually, trying to give new life to used materials is much more in line with what the younger generation is also looking for, to have a positive impact to the world, to work for companies that have a purpose. So I think in that sense, recycling companies definitely have good cards at hand to play an important role in that and to attract the talent we need, because the challenges are big.
No, much big. I mean, we are using more and more as if there is no tomorrow. Every house has not 1, 2, but 4 cars. Everything we have in multiples. So we are generating more waste. We are buying more food than we need. So all these things really need awareness. And as you said, Marc, what we did 20 years ago and what we're doing today, we have moved a long way. And I think we'll go much further in the next 20 years. Thanks to you and Wim for helping things move in that direction, and everybody else who is going to listen to this program.
Yeah. You mentioned one thing, the recognizing the value of materials. And I see in let's say in less developed countries that they can value the materials better. Also because the wages are a little bit lower, but they pick out the cardboard, they pick out the plastics from residual waste by hand picking, because it's worth something. And especially in the, let's say, if I might call it that way, the developed countries, the awareness is gone, and we have to build it up so we can learn from those countries who still knew the valuables of plastics or HDP or whatever, and we can bring, I think, some structure in how we managed it in Holland. We have a certain condition to be successful in recycling. As you said, I think it's awareness, but also behavior change. And behavior change is not very easy, but I think we go on and on and on. And when that condition is there, I think we in the Netherlands, I think Marc and Unico can agree, we have very good infrastructure for separate collection and a very good infrastructure of recycling and sorting plants. So we can make reused raw materials.
Yeah, I mean, segregation on site, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think, Wim, to build on that, even in countries like the Netherlands, where we have a lot of the infrastructure in place, there's still a lot to be done. I think if you look at, for example, the role of governments, that they can play in stimulating recycling and the use of recycled materials, creating their level playing field that allows companies to start using it, economically viable. And I think then, there's still a lot to gain. I think if we look at the percentages of the use of recycled materials globally, we still talk about less than 10% of everything that's produced being recycled, which is, a tremendous opportunity to also not only make sure we don't pollute the world, but also to help to avoid all kinds of emissions that normally would be generated when producing new materials.
I mean,
I was also triggered by what you said, Marc, that you actually can connect the whole world, and that everybody can participate. It is something that really everybody in the world can participate on. It starts then with proper collection. And from there, it will lead its way towards becoming new raw materials again. And if we do that all together, then also local communities will flourish, and we create stability and a clean environment. So my question is also a little bit to you. What are you going to? What is your main message for the global recycling for the world at this year's event? Also thinking about the recent news about increase in raw materials, tensions geopolitically. Ranjit and I talked earlier with a high-level security officer about the nexus between climate change and security, and also this nexus seems to be similar for security and recycling.
I mean, may I answer it, or Wim, you want to say something?
Everybody can answer.
So, okay. The story I want to play for this year is I want more and more of the corporate world to understand, as I say, adapt, and apply. Adopt recycling to be part of your corporate behavior. And as Wim said, consumer behavior has to change. We consumers have to change, but corporate also have to change. Corporate have to understand that they need to adopt, adapt, and apply more recyclables or seventh resource in their manufacturing cycle. Only when the demand of the recyclable increases is the effort of recycling going to be worth it, because we are generating recyclables, raw materials. So we really need more and more corporate world to use it. Additionally, we should be responsible consumers. So I think as consumers, we need to buy what we need, buy what is necessary, not buy and create unnecessary waste, especially in the food sector. I think food waste is a big problem. More than 30% of food that is produced, Wim, is discarded, is wasted, is not even used, doesn't even touch the consumer's tables. So we need to understand that food waste should be eliminated. We got to work on the goal of zero to landfill. And another final goal I would like to promote this year, which I started last year, is reforestation. We need to go into carbon offsetting as well. Recycling is saving over 1 billion tons, but additionally, we need to do more. So reforestation is a drive I would like the world to try to adopt more and more. That's my message for this year. I mean, I know Marc and Wim, you may want to add something else for our listeners.
That's very good goals to mention, Ranjit. And we have seen the last 2 years in the in COVID time, that the amount of plastics and paper cardboard entering our front door was increasing, I think 10-20%. I don't know the figures, but about that. So even more recycling is we need. So it's increasing, and it's increasing. What we also need is to have the planting trees. That's, I think, very good for carbon storage, let's say it that way. But also we need courage as a world, and also in our little tiny country, let's say, between competitors, between collecting companies and recycling companies, but also between recycling companies and manufacturers. And you really need courage to do so. And for example, in Holland, to reduce the carbon footprint, we try to reduce the amount of trucks in cities. So let's say London, I think maybe got there 30, maybe 40 contractors, and we have initiatives. Green Collective is mentioned, is one of them, and the other one is Open Waste. And there is it that competitors are working together to service the customers, but drive with one truck. And so the big reduction of CO2 carbon dioxide by 20 to up to 70%. And that's what's happening now in the Holland. And that's also a system, a platform, because we're talking about internet platforms where you can link to, that can work in other countries also. So that's what we are doing here in Holland, and I think that's one of the main streams which can work all over the world.
Yeah, Wim, and I think I like very much what you said about courage, right? Because if you don't experiment, if you don't dare to, work with other partners in the industry, you can't solve these big problems alone. And I think we also see it with things like mattresses, big piles of mattresses being incinerated every year until there are startups with new technologies, and you try with corporates to work together with these small startups to actually bring something to a level that it can be commercialized and actually can have an impact. And I think this is an example that you see happening here in Western Europe. But I truly believe that if you would go around the globe, you'll find artificial intelligence startups in any place around the world, initiatives for inner city collection, that we also can use in other parts of the world. So I think if we, have the courage to be open-minded, to work together, I think we can accelerate the pace of implementing all those new things to get the recycling rates up. And at the same time, we talked about that before in the call, reduce also the dependency of import of all kind of scarce materials, where we see it's not necessarily a given that you can always have access to them. So making sure we recycle them, keep them in the loops, I think is also going to be more and more important in the future.
I mean, what Marc, you said and Wim is saying, I always say that no step is small. Everything you're doing, however small it may look to you, but in the bigger sphere, it's a big contribution, because we all start somewhere. And as you said, mattresses. We give every year Recycling Hero, 10 Recycling Hero awards. And I remember year before last, I gave to a mattress company, because to me, when I look at the population of the country and look at the linear life of mattresses, 10 years, you can imagine the number of mattresses you are discarding. If you take 2 people per mattress as an example, in population of a country being 100 million, you got 50 million mattresses, which means over 10 years, every year you're going to discard 5 million mattresses, a huge number of mattresses. So much steel goes in there, textile cloth goes in there. There's so many usage of it. Incineration is not the answer. And it was a good subject you touched, Marc, and a very important subject. So I'm sure nothing is small, everything is important.
We also have good contacts through the Global Recycling Foundation with continents around the world, with Africa, India, with South America. And last years, we had millions of people tuning in on Global Recycling Day, United Nations, the European Commission, all kinds of institutions. This is your chance. What would be your main message to stimulate people to say, get out in your communities and help to clean up the world, make the world a better place, and help to recycle as much as possible?
Wim, maybe I get the expert Wim to say something.
Now, what is here, as you said, Ranjit, even the smallest step is important in every country, in every part of the world. And let's say that most of the waste which is coming in countries is not a technical problem. It's at least 60-70%. It's a logistic problem. Because when we have enough mattresses in one spot, we can collect them economically and we can recycle it economically. That's also with organic, with food waste, also with red HDPE plastics. When you have enough of certain materials, mono streams as we call them, you can collect it separately. And that's what we are doing here in the Netherlands, and that's step by step. And it's for the world also an opportunity to do so. The so-called fine-grained collection. So everywhere our branches to collect every type of waste we want. And then you can see that's not a technical problem, it's mostly a logistic and of course an awareness opportunity. And that's what I want to contribute here. So most of the collection and recycling is possible for 70%, 80%, 90% of the streams which we are throw away.
Yeah, Van, I can add to that. For me, it's all, you know, to paraphrase a famous person, be the change in the world you want to see yourself. Because ultimately, you know, if landfilling or incineration is much cheaper than recycling, if you're a government and you don't have policies where you prescribe the use of recycled materials or to open up the possibilities to use secondary materials for construction, for example. Now, I think if you don't make sure you put your incentives right, also you don't use your power of the community to stimulate the right behaviors. Yeah, and next to that, it's also about us, about recycling companies. As much as we talk about the impact we can have as recyclers in avoiding carbon, and we also have to look at our own footprint. What can we do ourselves? And I know from the companies like where Wim and I are working, you know, we try to improve our footprint. We look at electrification, zero emission, because those are the steps that I think we also, as responsible leaders, have to take ourselves. And hopefully that will inspire others as well.
My simple message to everybody is, let us commit or pledge on Global Recycling Day to be responsible green ambassadors. All of us in our own right should think green, because we've got limited land, air quality needs to be improved, pollution needs to be decreased, and consumption needs to be done responsible consumers, as a producer and as a consumer. So if all of us think green, as Marc said, think of the footprint we are creating individually and as a community, then as a city and as a country, I think we'll make a lot of progress in trying to build resource efficiency, reduce pollution, save a lot of carbon, and make this planet safe for us and even more safer for our next generation. So I think it's a contribution of everybody counts. Marc and Wim, you are doing a great job, and everybody else. So please, let's be collective partners of this planet and be responsible green ambassadors.
And thank you, Ranjit, for leading the way with Global Recycling Day. And I think it's for us in the business. We work every day in recycling, but I think it's very important to have that one day where we call this out to the world and make sure we get as many people supporting this as possible. Because I think it is all about gaining momentum. And the more we unite across the world on days like this, yeah, the more we can actually accelerate the transition. So thanks for your efforts on that front.
Thank you, Marc. It's a team effort, but thank you.
As I said, very good initiative. And I repeat again, we need courage also to our customers and our citizens. And we go for zero waste. And that's also encouraging, because the last 30, 40 years, we earn money with the waste. And now we have to change and say, no, we want zero waste. We want clean monostream materials, which we can close the loop with. Thank you for the initiative, Ranjit.
Thank you, Wim. Thank you, Marc. Great to be with you. You know, great partners of the environment you both are.
I like the dialogue very much. It was really about encouraging people all over the world to unite on good things which are helpful for all communities. And that is a very positive message, I would say, to the world. And let's hope that a lot of recycling heroes will stand up and show their examples on the Global Recycling Day. Thank you so much for this exchange, and let's bring the message of recycling into the world.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.